I had those same famous last
Eric,
words, Joe
no,
Peter.
we are.
Okay, IT committee, September 9th, it's 11:35. Take a roll call, please.
Bowers,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Sure,
Yep.
Young,
Yes. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. The agenda you got in front of you, but is there a motion to move the discussion and action on courthouse phones up
Oh, public comment
above public comments?
will be our next thing.
Yeah.
Yes, so move.
Mr.
Second.
Stewart? Mr. Bauer seconded. All those in favor say aye. Okay, is there any public comment?
No, be that we're going to.
Oh, we're gonna begin first? Okay, sorry. Okay. Yep. Okay. Would you like to present this proposal, or how do you want to handle this?
I can, I just came for questions or
Okay.
any concerns, but.
I can talk about it if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here
Basically,
to-
I gave everybody here in the committee a copy of the email correspondence as well as the proposal for the courthouse phones. And the reason why we're talking about this now is because our phone service contracts is, they're coming due, and the discussion week is on the agenda to talk about that well, not next, but later on in the agenda. So basically, if we decide to not do AT&T and utilize a different service, we need to upgrade those phones at the courthouse, which we're gonna have to do anyways. We had a scare yesterday where they didn't have any. We thought maybe it got hit by lightning again, but they're all good. We got it reset, we're fine. But, so the proposal from Reuter is the $20,781.50 for 44 phones, and all the bells and whistles that go with that. There is a separate proposal in here for $6,250, and this is for the cabling installation at the 10 total locations in the courthouse building. This would be the Cat 6 cabling that the admin building also received. So we're looking at a total cost approximately of $27,000 to replace the phone system over at the courthouse.
Don't forget about new switches.
Yeah, you're waiving those
If-
fees, right?
If we want to mention those now.
I tried. Okay, and then the
So I
switches,
ballparked it, but that's an actual quote.
yeah, 8,300 is a ballpark, so,
Well, we ballparked 10K last time, so this is not
As much.
locked in, but it's pretty close. The only thing to lock that in would be a project scope. So
okay.
Looks to me like on your code, you transposed the 3 and the 8.
We're trying.
we're trying.
I guess the biggest question we have relative to the situation we're in is the Reuter Technologies proposal and when that can be completed. Assuming that this is approved next Tuesday.
If it is approved next Tuesday, and I think I asked this question, but I'm sorry, I don't remember.
So the first step is the wiring, same as it was in this building.
Mhm.
And so I want to be clear on this, and you can elaborate more on this, but when we did this, and
We
it was
need
a
to
rush,
clarify because this is
we
different.
redid this whole building and brought it up like as if you just built the building.
Yep.
Okay, so all the wiring, the network, everything has been redone. Even in the room behind Jill, the main room, we kind of cleaned it up and redid it. For the courthouse, we're not redoing it. We are adding possibly 10 cables that I could identify when I walked through that are missing the network cable that we need for the phones. And so
These are the ones we know about.
Right.
There may be additional ones. that
I even budgeted for a couple
Mhm.
spare surprises, but we are not redoing the courthouse. Not that that doesn't need to be done. What you guys had through the years was what I call every man for himself. When the clerks, the county clerk needed a computer system, they did their own thing in that room, in that space. And the treasurer did the same thing, and so everybody did their own thing. So when we got here, there were individual ones that were somewhat tied together, and we got rid of all that. It's one big network, one big wiring in here. So the courthouse has a lot of that individualism going on again in different departments. We can still work with that. The idea here was not to someday down the road, it should be done. It should be all cleaned up. And so here we end up with just a main room with equipment. And because of the size of the building, we have one other down here on the east end. And will support everything, computers, telephones, whatever else comes down the line. In the courthouse, there's a bunch of stuff located all around the building. We're gonna stay with that only because we're not going to the extreme of rewiring the entire building, not at this point.
Right.
That can be another project down the road. So, we had to do it here because there was quite a few issues, but over there, after the walkthrough, with him changing out some of the switches, we can work with what's there. It's not ideal, it's not the greatest, but it's workable, so.
And then if they do vote to go forward with this phone project, Jeff, how long would it?
We
Would
could
you
get on the
estimate?
cabling right away, that's
Uh-huh.
easy.
Okay.
There's multiple things that we're talking about here, but the cabling we'd get done right away. I mean, literally, like, I could probably, the very next week, you know. The switches we need in place before we can do it, and so
That'll be
that's,
after the cabling.
Right.
That's usually a good time.
And that happens pretty quickly.
Yep, that'd be quickly as well.
You don't have product
phones,
delays.
we would get,
The switches are currently in stock, so.
well, good. We're running out of places where they're
Yeah.
not, so
Yeah,
that's,
yeah, well,
that's been a hiccup.
Today,
Yeah.
they're in stock.
We didn't have this problem last year, but we started seeing it in late spring, and it just is.
So total project, we may be looking at,
So the phones, the wiring's fast, the switches are in stock, we can get them and deployed right away. We'll get the phones out, I'm saying within 30 days, everything would be ready, would be there. But we're switching them over. So the switch over is the getting them off AT&T and onto the new.
Well, and you'll probably segment that, so you'll bring all the new phones up under AT&T, and then the next part of the project probably be the switching over from AT&T to SIP. I'm guessing you'll
Right.
separate those two
Right.
cutovers. That sounds nice.
Joe, what's our drop?
so approximately 60 days.
You're looking at, yeah, because even to do the SIP changeover, they'll test your internet,
Right.
and there's some, while we're doing this stuff, they're over here testing network,
Right.
So usually, yeah, I'd say around 60 days. If we have issues, it could run to 90,
Okay,
but
60.
60 would be 60 or sooner would be a good number.
So we're looking
What's
at,
the end of the contract
And
again?
I did shoot you a couple
October
places
8th.
that would be nice to add some additional.
I gave it
numbers.
some
I don't
leeway
think like
because,
two
you know,
additional
we
numbers.
discussed this
Okay.
earlier,
Uh,
Joe.
that's
We
That's
discussed
not,
it was run on time.
How did we get to that?
If-
I always
if
knew it was
we-
October
if
8th,
we
but I
did
always
that
set
That's
the
in
date.
August 31st.
I always set the date a month prior. At least a month prior, because AT&T struggles to get the contracts to us. So, and by always, I mean, this is my second time doing it, so.
And another difference between buildings is at the admin building, all the phone equipment is on their own network. At the courthouse, because it's not doing a full network refresh, the phone system will be on the computer network. They'll be sharing equipment, which is fine. It's always nice to separate them when possible, but because of the courthouse situation, they'll be shared.
Right, so basically, we're under AT&T's contract until the end of, we'll say the end of this month. So if we get started now, we're looking at out of contract, or if the committee decides to do a 1 year, 2 year, whatever the case may be. But
We talked
I
about a
would,
1 year.
yeah, I would suggest either 1 year or out of contract for 2 months.
So part of this,
That's
everyone understands
$14,000.
is
approximately, yeah.
you've got separate phone systems in separate buildings. So we already replaced the one here, which can handle your current service that you're getting or future services. Things are changing. So by getting the courthouse, the second phase here, get the courthouse, we're not having two systems. I want to be clear on that. It's one system. You already bought it last year. We're just adding on to it and gonna replace everything in courthouse. So now you're all under one system. You literally, as if you were in one building, is how that'll work. And then the second part of this we're talking about is, yes, we'll get the courthouse riding on the old AT&T service, getting their phone calls in and out. What we're looking to do though is switch you over to a newer service, which comes in on your internet that you're already paying for. So it's cheaper and it's kind of the way of the future. They're doing away with your current service. It's still available, but they're slowly doing away with that stuff. So, but the new system you bought last year is built for that. We actually had to add something to it to make it work with your old AT&T service. So, but then you'd just be under one system.
Is there any way this can be done in 30 days?
I said
We can-
approximately 60.
So again, I want to try to explain the hardware and installing the wire. Yes, we we did this one in 30 days. I mean, we can do that. Absolutely. I can't speak for they got to do their part, but I think they could get that done.
Yeah.
It's the switching over from AT&T that sometimes
So are you talking about
The
porting the
porting
numbers?
the numbers.
Porting.
Yep. We could have everything working tomorrow, but we're still kind of at the mercy of getting the new service established and then getting a date set.
So here's our deal,
If
is our
there's
contract.
issues, it could push to 30 days, or who
Right.
knows if there's issues. And that's not anyone's fault except for the carriers. Yeah.
Right,
So-
we're at the mercy. They have 30 days to, once you submit and go, you know what, I want to take my numbers and move.
Yeah.
They have 30 days to hang on.
Mhm.
They don't generally do it,
But
but
they could,
they can.
and they have.
So our issue is our contract is out, whatever, October 9th, I think, or October 8th, or whatever it is.
Yeah, the end of September.
All right, so if AT&T doesn't port those numbers over by the end of our contract, are we on the hook? Or is that
AT&T
AT&T's problem?
No, AT&T, you're under a contract, you're getting a special rate. When that contract expires, they're gonna hit you to the regular, I call it the regular rate, the everyday list price.
Okay.
rate. I don't know what that is, or Jill found out,
$7,000 a month.
I don't know.
but, yeah.
Sometimes 3 times.
Yeah, because they want you to renew, they want to try to keep you as a customer. So, I mean, we could start the process now even of the testing and the service provider, the new one, won't give you service until they test your facility, your internet, and you pass. Because if you don't pass, they don't want you as a customer because you're going to complain that your
Service.
phone service sucks. So it's that testing thing we could do now. But it requires a commitment that you want to do it, type of thing. So we could kind of get the cart, in front of the horse here, but
Yeah, you could do it in tandem.
yeah.
The worst,
So we'd be doing that test. It's going to be on this service here in this building anyway. We don't care about the courthouse. So that could be all getting done and getting approved. And so once they say, yeah, your service is good, then they'll start moving forward.
we like to have lots of buffer time, but it's possible, but there's things that could go wrong. And if it does go wrong, you're gonna have this problem or that problem.
So you could have a month overlap where you're paying for your new service and you're still stuck with AT&T before they finally move them over and shut the AT&T off.
What concerns me is if we go past our expiration date, is there somewhere in this contract where it's kind of in the fine print, so to speak, that we automatically re-up
Renew?
for a whole nother year?
I think Jill will have to coordinate that with AT&T
Well,
billing. but-
when I first took over as finance director, we were experiencing this, and they did not automatically renew, and I brought the signed contracts, and I read through them, I'll pass them around.
I don't think.
There's
they
nothing
auto-renew.
specifically in there that they auto-renew, because like I said, when I first took over, we were in this kind of the same situation where they they expired.
Yeah.
And they charged us regular rates for quite a few months. Now, I did get those credited back, but, that's only because we signed the contract with them, so,
That's what I'm doing.
yeah.
Yeah. I will say, I'll tell you, I know Kankakee had that problem where there was a hiccup, they didn't sign in time, and part of it is the guy ignored the email, thought it was, yeah, and so what happened is it expired and his bill went from 10,000 to 20,000 one month. And then he called screaming and they're like, well, they kind of like, sign here, we'll give you your money back.
And we signed the contract and they credited it to us, but at
Yeah.
that point, we weren't talking about switching any other services, so it was fine.
So when's your expiration date? When does contract end?
October 8th is, but I've been saying the end of September, just to give us a few days.
John?
Yeah, no, I'm just curious what kind of time frame.
The crux of the deal is the financial aspect of it.
Mhm.
Okay, it's gonna cost $27,000 for Reuters Park, a little over 8 for area wide, that's 35. It's gonna cost, at the most, from what we can determine, 14,000 for AT&T's on a month-to-month, okay? So that's 49,000. We're gonna save, according to what AT&T said, they would renew the contract for a cost of $22,617.60 for a year. So that's a little more than a 2-year payout. I think it makes sense for us to go ahead and do this. And if we can get it done in 1 month, only having to pay AT&T 1 month, then it definitely is a 2-year payout.
I guess.
So
I wouldn't
I think
count
the
on
money-
paying them just 1 month from my experience. They usually get you for,
Yeah, I just said 2 months. It's a little more than a 2-year payout, so to me, that makes sense from a business standpoint, that we should go ahead with this.
I agree.
So I will make that motion, that we approve the proposal from Reuter and the proposal from Area Wide.
Is there a second, Steve? Ready for a roll call vote?
Bowers,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Sure,
Yes,
Young,
Yes.
that takes care of that.
the 18th.
Those are our current signed contracts.
I'll resend you that.
I just brought them in case anybody
About
wanted
the
to look at them.
additional 40. They're-
I think you, sir. No, that was the actual signature that you had to get them done then and there.
Do they prorate those AT&T bills from the actual switchover date?
Yes, that's been you only pay for the days that you have to, so. And then you cancel them, yeah.
So,
And that's strictly the phone, that's something to check or whatever, but yeah, because you're not canceling your entire AT&T, because that's who you're getting your internet from, I think.
Well, we switched over to ICN.
They're using
ICN.
ICN.
ICN, yeah, then it's
you said how much a month?
It'll be a
7,000?
clean cut, yeah.
a, yeah, that's even,
7,000.
okay.
So
Yeah.
7,000 divided by 30 days is $200 and some dollars a day. $233 a day.
I mean, the state's attorney still uses them for a fax line, but that's separate, they pay for their own. I don't really care.
We'll have to sort that out too, or whatever. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have him email you a test that you'll have to do from your computer at your desk. And it runs in the background or whatever for 48 hours. I only want you to do it
On the fast track.
48 hours that you're, like, so is send it to you today or tomorrow. Don't do it then till Monday.
Don't do it over the
I
weekend.
don't wanna do it on the weekend. That's
No,
kinda
no, yeah,
voids
defeats
the-
the purpose. We'll
The
probably
sooner
do
we can get
Monday.
it done, the
Do it
better.
Monday, when it's done, the test results automatically are sent to us, so we see what we got, and then I'll
Okay.
keep you in the loop.
Yeah.
Can that even be
Yeah.
done?
Okay.
Is it legal?
Sorry to even run, but I.
No,
I
get
run the
out,
show
you're good.
with that.
Probably not.
All right. See you
I
guys.
didn't
Thanks,
do anything
thanks for
like
coming,
that.
Jeff.
233 a day, Jeff.
For what it's worth, and I don't know that it enters into this, but our November board meeting is on the 9th of November. So, but I don't know how that's gonna apply to this, but. So it'll definitely be approved next Tuesday.
And Jill, I'll get you a project scope, but it's, it's pretty straightforward. I don't see this number changing, but it's not locked.
It won't change
100%
much,
locked in.
yeah.
It's 99% locked.
I mean, it won't go down,
It might go down.
it better.
It has.
In my experience, it usually does.
So I quoted this for a flat rate labor.
Uh-huh.
If you guys wanted the option, we could just do hourly instead of doing a flat rate. So again, that's the time and materials versus flat rate. So if we wanted to take the possibility of it being cheaper, time materials may be cheaper if it doesn't go over hours. If it goes over hours, then the flat rate would be cheaper. So just as a reminder, if
Why don't you do a time and materials not to exceed what's on that piece of paper?
that's called flat rate. But you'll probably do the flat rate. I just wanted
Yeah.
to mention if that was a possibility, we can always do that.
We're cheapskates, Michael.
No, I've heard that question lots and lots of times. So.
He knows.
All right.
Okay, public comments? None? Michael Tabor?
All right. Couple items.
4 minutes.
I got 4 minutes, all right. So we attended a meeting for county clerk with discussion on the grant requirements for cybersecurity through the cybersecurity navigators. So they have a list of items that they specifically they need the county clerk to abide by. But some of the things also get rolled into the Iroquois network, like the .gov domain and whatnot. Did we talk about those requirements at this meeting? And do we want to?
I think we already talked about it.
Okay. So we talked more about specifics, and I've emailed Jill and Bryn about those things, but just wanted to note that we're moving forward with adding additional security or configurations per their requirements to get the grants. And they're additional security items, so it's going to benefit everyone. So that's that piece. We, speaking of security, turned on DMARC security for email services recently. And looking at the reports for the last 30 days, everything looks pretty good. There is one provider that was listed on there that I don't have any notes on. So I'll work with Jill to see if any departments using that provider. And with DMARC, it's an email security tool that shows you what other people are receiving concerning your emails. So if someone tries to send an email on behalf of Iroquois County, and it doesn't go through our systems, we don't see it. With DMARC, we do see those things. So I'll work with Jill. It looked really good. There's one service that I haven't heard of, but probably a department's using it or something like that. So I'm not concerned. But just wanted to report back about that. And then Windows 7 machines. That is good. We're down to the last one. 911 has all their taken care of. So we're just down to waiting on equipment for one other, having a discussion about the chairman PC as well. So we're good on Windows 7 machines. And I am also working with EMA, with Eric over at EMA, about purchasing a smart board solution. And one of the things that they want to do is have a cloud file solution where they can share PowerPoints and PDFs to this smart board. So we're looking at a solution called Nextcloud. And it would be covered by EMA's budget, but it'd be something that would be ran on the Iroquois network. And it would be another server that is open to the internet. So I just wanted to mention that if anyone had any questions on it. It's something we've set up for clients and ourselves. So we like the product, but it's additional security consideration because you're adding another server and opening up some access from the Iroquois network off to the cloud. So, but it's for document sharing for email documents for their smart board. So, and that's all items I wanted to bring up.
Okay, any questions for Michael? Okay, discussion and action on phone service contracts.
We pretty well covered that, didn't
Yeah, I mean, do we have to vote on?
Yeah.
Vote on
Are you
changing,
going to
dropping AT&T and
not renew an AT&T contract except the 1 year, except the 2 year?
we? We're gonna go month to month.
Okay, so you're not renewing the contract. Do you need a motion for that? Okay, that's what he was asking.
Well, somebody can make that motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
I'll second it.
There we go.
okay, it's been moved and seconded not to renew the contract with AT&T. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do we have to enter into an agreement with the other company then to provide phone service?
That's through Router.
Okay,
So Router, you're going through Router now for your internet or your telephone service and phone system.
so there's no contract on that? phone
There
service?
is a contract. It's in that big document. It's in that big one.
We're gonna be getting that through the ICN network, is that right?
It's gonna
Runs
It's
through.
gonna run through it, but it's gonna, the service is through Router. And it's, Router's not providing it, they're just reselling it.
Through ESI.
But I guess my question was,
Yep.
is this an extension of what we have right now? Every time we add another phone, do we have to pay more to ICN?
No.
Why would we have to pay more for this one?
This is for the phone service, so the telephone numbers and long distance and dial tone and
I
stuff.
know, but what I'm saying is, if, let's say that we establish a new department out here,
Mhm.
Parks and Recreation, and we put a telephone in there now, we have to pay more money to ICN for that telephone?
If you add more lines, there is it looks like $6 per line.
Yeah, but we shouldn't have to add any more lines. We have lines that we're not using now.
Right,
But I mean, that, I'm just,
or if they wanted a
Tell me, how
specific
do you-
phone number.
how do you view the phones at the courthouse? Is that an extension of what we have here? It's all gonna be run through the ICN network.
Guess it is.
It's not in the same building, but it's
Right.
the same, it's the same client.
Right. I guess I'm confused on your question.
Is this?
My question is what it's gonna cost us with this new arrangement.
With ESI,
What is the ICN?
you have the numbers in front of you,
It's,
Michael. can you read them off?
It is, let's see, in NCR, that's the NCR and MCR, which one's NCR? Not recurring,
Not-
monthly
not
recurring.
recurring, yeah.
So the monthly recurring for the new telephone service through Router is $486 a month.
453 lines?
For 100 and
It's more lines than what we have.
130 lines? it
Yeah,
looks
it's
like.
more than what we have, I know that.
So John, ICN supplies the internet bandwidth into the buildings for free,
Mhm.
and then we have to pay that monthly fee for the actual phones to work.
So the internet is just the path that the service takes to
Right.
get in.
So ICN is free, and then ESI is gonna be $486 a month, opposed to what
My
we've been paying.
question was simply, if we add more over here, then we have to pay more as well.
Well, we have 130
Cost.
lines available, so possibility, if you go over 130 lines, then you have to pay $6 a
Are you
line.
paying actual lines, or are you just paying that flat number?
It'd be a flat number
Yeah.
per month, the
You
$6.
got 100 lines, you're paying for 130.
If you went over, I wish we didn't kick Jeff out, this is a good question for Jeff. But let's say if for some reason Iroquois County had to go from 130 lines to 150 lines.
130 is the lowest amount. Are you asking if we could have went lower?
Oh,
No,
oh,
130 was the minimum.
okay. Good
Okay, well,
question.
why is it then that the lines that we have here in this building isn't lumped together with the lines at the courthouse?
Currently,
You're saying
they,
we're gonna have 130 here and 130 over there.
No, it'd be 130 total. We have a total of 53 lines now. So we would have,
So we're paying for 130 right now, why are we gonna pay?
no, we're paying for 53 right now, because that's what we have
You just said you pay for the minimum, which is 130.
with ESI.
after everything's said and done.
Right.
Okay, so
I think we're confusing each other.
with the courthouse,
We'll get there.
with the courthouse, then we're not gonna have to pay any more to ESI.
No,
They accounted for those
Right.
phones in the courthouse.
right.
In the cost.
Yeah, we currently pay for 53 lines, which is what we have for both buildings. And now switching over the monthly plan of 486, we could have up to 130 lines.
Without addition.
So if you
additional-
add an additional apartment, like your Parks and Recreation, then we're fine. And now if you go over 130 lines, then it's an additional $6.
But that would be
a
very
month.
hard to do.
It would be hard to do. We don't need some of the lines we have now.
Okay,
Good question.
just trying to get a.
Wrap your head around it, yep.
Clear understanding as possible
Yeah.
about that aspect of
No,
it.
I wasn't following you, sorry.
Well, somebody's liable to bring it up on Tuesday, when we talk
Yeah.
about
Yep, yep.
doing this and the payout and so forth, so
Mhm.
I think being prepared in advance is probably a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to derail this thing, because
No, I
we're looking at a time element here.
I hear you.
And if it's helpful for me or Jeff to be there, let's know. Make sure, no.
I don't know, what do you think?
I don't see where there'll be a problem, but it never hurts to have your ducks in a row. How does that work? Would he come down and be here on a standby thing, or?
I just threw that out there.
We
If
would
you
have
wanna-
to pay Michael, and Rooter would come for free to come.
That's why I asked if he would come.
You might have,
Tell Michael to stay home.
yeah. No, and Jeff could pretty much answer all the questions,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll be a problem. It's pretty-
You probably don't need me or Jeff, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
Mhm.
The only reason I bring it up too, though, is because it is somewhat complicated, and not only looking at the different costs, but also the time element of, what we're gonna be paying AT&T
Mhm.
for this month or 2 months of service until we can get the project completed, so.
Mhm.
From that standpoint, I just,
Take a
like
look.
I said, I don't want anything to
There.
derail it.
Say,
We've had that happen before, where people start asking all kinds of questions, and suddenly someone, well, let's table this till next month. And that puts us behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
Okay. At this point, I need a motion to go into executive session. Okay, you want me just to read it? Okay. Motion to enter into executive session 5 ILCS 120/2C8, security procedures, school building safety and security, and the use of personnel and equipment to respond to an actual, a threatened, or reasonably potential danger to the safety of an employee, student, staff, public, or public property. There's a second. Second by Paul. All those in favor say aye.
Excuse me for laughing. No problem. Just because my funny bone.
I'm assuming Green will stay in.
Yes, she stays.